Hey, welcome to another edition, Vegas Badboyz of Podcasting. I'm DJ Impact here. We got Sin City Steve, Matt Michaels, and we're here. We don't have Simon Street, but I'm sure he'll show up maybe next week. I don't know. Who knows? You're here with us. Feel free to throw the comments in the box, YouTube Live, Twitch Live, Facebook, and let us know what your thoughts are as well. All right, fellas. Some wrestling went down this past week, but majorly this weekend, right? I mean, do we even talk about what happened this week? It's all about this weekend, right?
Oh, except for Steve.
Basically. Yeah, imagine me being the one to give the alternate perspective. Imagine that.
Right. All right, man. Well, let me give you your intro, Sin City. You can go right at it, man. This is the four-way stop. All right, Sin City, man. What you got?
All right. So, yes, I'm going to go there. Sorry. Roman Reigns is still your WWE Undisputed Universal Champion. Add 3 more words to the end of the title to make it longer. Why not? Anyway, he defeated Sami Zayn, obviously, in Montreal. You know, so many people in attendance thought that they were going to pull the trigger and, the ovations and all that kind of stuff. It really was a special match. It's really telling that it got Roman to actually crack. There was an instance where he actually had a non-in-character smile when he heard the ovation for Sami Zayn on his way to the ring, which is actually really cool to see. Elsewhere, I've said the Bloodline storyline is the best thing in wrestling in a decade. In terms of pure storyline, I completely, I will go to the grave saying that this is probably one of the better storylines I've ever seen. And this match was such a key, integral part in the storyline. Everybody played their roles to a T. Elsewhere, Mercedes Moné is your new IWGP Women's Champion after defeating Kyrie at Battle in the Valley on Saturday. Oh, yeah, there was another wrestling show on Saturday, too.
Right.
Anyway, again, many people thought that this would be the outcome to this match as well. But, as we've said, the safe bet isn't always the worst bet. This was nearly a 27-minute match, and it was a great back-and-forth match. Monet won the title after using her old bank statement finisher, as well as Bailey's Bailey to Belly, who also was in attendance, showing some love to her friend, and picked up the victory, which was awesome. So, yeah, awesome stuff.
Yeah, man. I agree with that. I actually watched that. That's the only match I actually watched. I wanted to see how that was going to how that was going to come to an end. So good stuff there. Matt Michaels, man, what you got?
Well, I would say that this week is all about the the Elimination Chamber. Let's go with something that was phenomenal, and that was Logan Paul setting up with Seth Rollins, which is going to be fucking kick-ass. It's sad when a guy like Logan Paul can do a move from another wrestler and another organization and make it look way better. And that lariat was fucking 10 times better than a Hangman Page's wet noodle that he throws. So that was nice to see. And you know what? Give credit to Asuka in the Elimination Chamber. I think that is going to be a pretty damn good match between Bianca and Asuka. I think that's a fresh matchup we haven't really seen, which is nice. And the other thing, and it's escaping my mind, that happened this week. I know exactly what it was. It was wonderful to see Rhea Ripley powerbomb Edge. That was fucking amazing. Guy had it coming to him. That's all I got to say. She's a powerful woman. So good for her taking out Edge. That was wonderful. Love seeing it.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. In terms of the highlight that I throw out there, just a little something different. The 5-man elimination chamber match. Now, granted, I knew it was going to come down to Austin and Seth. It only made sense. But out of all the guys, I just thought I just put a little light there on Damian Priest. Um, I listen. I'm not saying that he is ever going to become the undisputed WWE champion. What I am saying is that I believe he's at a level that should be having that one-on-one match in the future for that title, because he has really shown that this guy, however you come at him, he's ready. He's full of power, full of energy, and it was just amazing to kind of see the things that he was doing, manhandling mostly all the guys that was in there. Listen, I was a fan of this guy when he was Punishment Martinez in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I never really thought, I'll be honest with you, as great as he was during at that time, I never thought he would have made it to WWE. But when he did, dude, this guy really he just shines every time he's out there in the ring. And I'm saying, okay, that's fine. He can be a mid-carder, but watching him in this particular match, I'm ready to see a build on at least giving him that opportunity, like we saw with Sammy. We're not going to probably ever have him holding that belt, but I think watching what he was doing with these other guys really shown that, you know what, he's ready for it. So I'll leave that right there. How about we jump over into the Too Sweet for the week? All right, Matt Michaels, what you got, man?
The bloodline, this, I mean, again, it's like the featured thing here. This whole story with Sammy and just the way it played out, the build up. I mean, we had a sense we were going to be working towards an Usos versus KO and Sammy. Steve, you like the continuity and the story, long storytelling playing, and that's what this was. What, like a year or so worth of just build up that just fabulously played out in that match.
Mhm.
Also, we got to see Sami Zayn throw a super punch on Roman Reigns, which was just wonderful.
All right.
So, yeah, I mean, everything played out. But let's give credit to where credit is due. That crowd, wow.
Yeah.
That Montreal crowd was fucking fantastic.
Yep.
So, that it ups the performance level when an entertainer can be in an environment in which the audience is basically raising the level of the performer to get past what they are just doing and telling a story, and now are emotionally attaching themselves to the story that the performer is telling. And it was just phenomenal to see. And I really, it's funny because the question now is, do the fans feel that Cody Rhodes is a downgrade? So Cody is going to have his work fucking cut out from him. Now, we saw this week a little start of that setup with Paul Heyman and Cody, and some good stuff going on between them,
Yeah.
starting to make that lead up. But that's going to be the interesting thing is, does Cody Rhodes, is he able to bring that level in only 6 weeks or 5 weeks to make that match as special for the fans as this was for that Montreal crowd?
Yeah. Absolutely. I was trying to find, and I'll jump in on this one, a quote that I have found from one of the chats I read, but I don't think I can. Let me just say this: there was this, and I think we're actually going to talk about this in one of our other shows we're going to do, but this idea of being disappointed on the outcome of the match. I don't know if there was anybody what you were expecting, but what this turned out to be was really great storytelling. And the way it ended, as far as I was concerned, was perfect, because I was trying to figure out how they were going to kind of complete this whole story here. And watching everything, you saw the first ref knocked out. You seen the second ref knocked out. You wasn't sure if Jimmy or Jay were there. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, there was just so much in this and how this was going to just play out. And listen, there were many opportunities for those who really thought that Sammy was going to win. There were many times where it really looked like he was, right? It was put together so well that although you knew what the outcome was going to be, it almost looked like maybe it wasn't. Like, fuck, are they about to really give it? Because it was just that good of a presentation. All I'm saying is the way it turned out was the way it should have been. I don't see how else that there could have been any other than the conclusion of that match. And again, I tell you guys to definitely, I think we're going to release an episode on Tuesday that we're going to talk a little bit about it, because there's some that disagree with that. And I'm just kind of curious on where they're coming from on that. So we'll talk about it. That's a little something to keep you looking forward to on Tuesday. But Sin City Steve, man, how about you? What was too sweet for the week?
All right, man. So, yeah, we're going to pivot a little bit, and we're going to talk a little bit about realistically one of the few bright spots on AEW TV this week.
Okay.
Mox and Claudio versus Roosh and Preston Vance. It was a Texas Tornado tag match. All four men were, legal in the ring at the same time, or rather outside of the ring. Imagine that. You've got a match involving Moxley where, there's all sorts of plunder and it's a brawl. And of course, Moxley gets color because, why wouldn't he bleed? It's crazy, man. It's a trope at this point, but it's just funny. Like I wonder like what goes through that guy's head. Like he literally has to bleed every single week. Regardless, it was a great match. Back and forth, but they used a chain in a particularly interesting manner. And they wrapped a chain around Preston Vance's throat, and John Moxley locked in a Juji Gatami, or the cross arm breaker, and Preston Vance tapped out to the chain around his neck and the cross arm breaker. Interesting.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, I do want to echo your point about the men's Elimination Chamber match, Impact. It was absolutely amazing. I'm not meaning to speak in hyperbole. It was an amazing chamber match. Yeah. It was one of the better ones that they've ever done. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not afraid to admit that. You had a brand new superstar emerge from that match. I'm talking about Montez Ford. We've talked about him repeatedly on this show.
Yeah.
But out of everyone in that match, I'd say that his stock went up higher than anyone else's in that match. The Spider-Man repelling dive from the roof of the chamber was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And the guy can talk. He's proved that. So quite frankly, I would love to see Montez Ford with your Money in the Bank briefcase the next time that launches. Right there is a brand new talent that you can build. He's going to be there for quite some time. It makes sense at this point.
Yeah.
Bronson Reed had a good showing as well, even though he got dumped on his head. There was a pretty scary, blockbuster and Poison Rana spot involving Johnny Gargano. Gargano almost broke his neck, and Bronson Reed landed right on the top of his head. So, thankfully everyone is okay. But they did put faith in some new blood, and they rose to the occasion in that match.
Right.
And last thing, really quickly, we bag on Jeff Jarrett a lot on this show, but that guy is a consummate professional. His father, Jerry, passed on Valentine's Day, the 14th, and went right in the very next day, competed in the opening match on Dynamite. And, you know, it earned a lot of respect and just goes to show you why he is one of the most professional men in the business.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
agree.
All right, y'all. Let's get into our next one. This week's WTF. So I don't really have really nothing, but I will say this. So listen, Fox, I understand. Like you are I guess a family network. Man, I thought that was ABC. I don't know. I guess all of you guys are a family network, right? But boy, when the fans decided to let Roman have it, my everything was muted. I didn't know what was going on for like 30 seconds to a minute going, I mean, come on. It just took away from the entire experience, you know? I mean, it's live, right? I mean, I don't know. I get it, but it just took away from it, man. I mean, it was just weird. Like, and I knew what was happening, right? I figured out it had to be something that the crowd was saying. Normally they'll kind of take a little bit out. They just said, forget it. We're muting the whole thing for like 30 seconds or so. It was just like, what if they would have kept on going? It would have just been like dead sound for like 2 or 3 minutes. I mean, I don't know, man. Fox, come on. I mean, that would be my WTF if I had to pick on anything, but it was just such a great segment and an experience that I just think that they should have let that one slide. But whatever. Anyway, Sin City Steve, man, how about you? You had any WTFs for the week?
Really quick, I do want to shout out Bionic Scoop's comment in the YouTube chat. He says, I understand, but it's worldwide TV dropping F-bombs. Yeah, Impact.
I know.
You got to kind of walk that fine line, man. FCC.
I get it.
Go.
I get it.
There you go.
I'm just like,
yeah. Anyway, I did have a couple WTFs. You know, why is the AEW women's division booked so badly? Repeatedly. I mean, we've mentioned it numerous times on the show. I mean, they have a very talented roster. This week's Dynamite main event, Ruby Soho versus Britt Baker versus Toni Storm, was just what? Ruby got a much needed win, which was cool to see. Picked up the surprise roll-up win on Britt Baker. Many thought that Ruby would choose a side as part of this freelancers versus homegrown talent angle that they've got going, but nothing. Absolutely nothing. I guess we're getting Jamie Hayter versus Ruby Soho at Revolution. There's that, but and try to explain the spot in the match to a casual viewer of Saraya spray painting Toni Storm's ass with green fucking paint. She runs across the ring and bashes Britt Baker in the face with her ass, and it's supposed to leave the green paint. All right, cool. Out of context. Right. Anyway, I know you guys are going to call me an asshole. Okay, speaking of not picking a side, I loved the Roman Reigns Sami Zayn match. I loved the match.
Yeah. But
it was the post-match that gave me a little bit of cause for trepidation and does get a WTF from me. Okay. You're carrying this Jey Uso loyalty storyline past a premium live event to a TV show. Okay. So now we see where their loyalty lies. Of course, it's on SmackDown. That's fine. I get that one. But then you had a long stare down between Sammy and KO. You don't give them the hug finish with the crowd going absolutely ape shit to end the show. So that leaves the door wide open for people to assume, oh, well, Sami Zayn's not done with Roman Reigns. Okay, so Sami Zayn's going to be in the main event at WrestleMania. They're going to put him in the main event of WrestleMania because they haven't told me that they're not going to do that. So what you do is you condition the audience that that's either going to happen or there's going to be cause for huge disappointment. If you would have solidified the alliance between Sami and KO, then I think that you could have easily pivoted to it strictly being a single match for that championship. I don't know. It could prevent future problems.
So it didn't seem like that was just a straight given.
Not necessarily, because the thing is the two guys stared at each other. So where did they go from here? Honestly, it would have been amazing given the fact that you stunned the crowd silent with the victory by Reigns. Okay. It was just like the streak had been snapped in New Orleans. Okay. That arena was quiet. They weren't booing. They were quiet. And then you could have easily had Sami and KO hug at the end of the night after Roman was long gone. You get that nice, huge crowd pop, and you, quite frankly, send the crowd home happy.
Okay. I got you.
I don't know.
I got you. All right. Matt Michaels, what you got, man?
It hit me. The only response I have to you, Steve, is they're Canadian. Of course they went home happy. It didn't matter what happened.
Hey.
They're always happy, eh?
Because after Roman left and they put that they scanned the audience, though, they were looking pretty pissed.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Dude,
they could set themselves up for disaster by not doing things.
Canadian pissed is like, might have lost my keys. Okay. So it's all good. Boy, I just agree with you, Steve, 100%. The spray paint thing, just what it was bad. So yeah, I definitely 100% agree on that. I also do not know why you brought back Keith Lee on Rampage. That made no sense at all.
With the look.
Yeah, with Grandpa Lee. That was just strange. I don't know. And also, I mean, again, tons of blood this week on Rampage. I mean, the Moxley match, Preston Vance, both those guys bleeding. Okay, I could see that. Again, though, I would have put that match maybe at the last, make that your main event, because that women's triple threat just did not do anything at the end.
It was a wet fart of an ending.
Yeah. But the having Dustin Rhodes bleed on Rampage made no sense. It's just like, these guys are cutting themselves for no reason. So that kind of makes me go, what the fuck? I'm not a big fan of that. And finally, I'd have to say, what the fuck, hospitals using orange Jello for their patients? Come on, people. Come on. Orange Jello. Got to go with some better.
All right, cool. Let's go to our next segment, the Lookout. All right, let's see, man. Sin City, how about you, man?
All right, so
looking out for.
All right, they did announce on Dynamite this week that there would be a multi-tag team match at Revolution for the AEW Tag Team Championship. The Guns versus the Acclaimed versus the winner of a Revolution Tag Team Battle Royal this coming week on Dynamite. But there is a casino tag team Battle Royal the week after on Dynamite. As we all know, in the casino battle royals, there are jokers. Wouldn't this be a great opportunity for them to trot FTR out there, have FTR win that battle royal, and then go on and get their win back from the Guns at Revolution, only this time it's for the AEW Tag Team Championship? I don't know. Fantasy booking, but trying to be optimistic. Elsewhere, I'm looking out for Asuka to dethrone Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. I think Bianca is in dire, desperate need of a character change, not a heel turn, but she needs to have a character shift in some way, just because that'll keep that character fresh. I think that in order to do that, she's going to have to lose that championship. I also want to see more of the WrestleMania Goes Hollywood vignettes. The Seth and Becky one was great. I laughed my ass off, so it did its job. Becky Lynch doing the Christian Bale Batman voice was so bad that it was good. And Seth absolutely killing the Joker reenactment.
Oh, yeah.
There are some definite parallels between those two characters.
Yeah, man. Especially when he was doing that dance. I'm like, oh my God. All right. Well, look, I'll jump in here right quick. What am I looking forward to? Well, might as well go ahead and promote it. Impact Wrestling in town this coming Friday. If you happen to be in the Las Vegas area, Sam's Town is the place to be. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday, though, is the pay-per-view, and that's what I am looking forward to seeing. Now, of course, the main event is going to be Rich Swann versus Josh Alexander. And then on this past week's show, Rich accidentally super kicked Josh. So, they're good friends, but that kick to the face by accident, I don't know. They just kind of left us hanging. I kind of think that, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a turn on that night. So I'm looking for that. But you know who I am really, truly excited to see for this particular match that we have coming up? It's probably going to be, it might actually be the show stiller. You tell me, Sin City. Jonathan Grisham versus Mike Bailey. Sign me up. Sign me up.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So that's going to be also a big match. John Hendry versus Moose for that digital title. I told you I'm a John Hendry fan, man. I listen. Where's the JH shirts? I got to get one of those. I love his character. Say it again.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
I love his character. He's doing a good job, man. And I want them to keep building on to that. Hopefully he maintains the bottom line, though. Oh, and I forgot. There is the women's titles too, the knockouts. Masha. Yeah.
Mickey James.
Versus Mickey James. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's gonna be a good show. Like I said, if you happen to be in the area Friday, it is a 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I think 4:30 is going to be the pre-show, but please try to come through. And then if you happen to be available still Saturday and Sunday, you can come to some of the tapings as well. Anyway, I didn't mean to go that long, but hey, man, that's what I'm looking out for. Matt Michaels, what are you looking out for?
The thing that I'll be looking out for this 5 weeks is the road to WrestleMania continuing and start to see some of these matches come together.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting because, we have a feel now for about 3 or 4 matches, 5 matches. So with 2 days worth, we've probably got another about 10 matches ish. 10 or 11 matches, maybe a little less. So that should be very interesting to see how that all, paths itself out. You'll have NXT building up for their show on WrestleMania weekend 2, which I can't believe that they're doing their show in the morning, essentially, before night one of WrestleMania. So that is interesting.
Yeah.
And then considering all the shows going on in LA at that time too, it's going to be something else. So
Yeah.
just looking forward to seeing what happens with WrestleMania.
All right. All right. All right. Let's get to our last one. What is best in show for the week? I'm going to play the role here as Sin City Steve. New Japan Pro Wrestling was the best show of what? Am I right? Sin City, what was your best in show?
Hey, I'm fine with you saying that, but
Okay.
yeah, WWE Elimination Chamber, not even close.
Yeah.
Nothing else held a candle.
Yeah.
All due respect to Battle in the Valley,
Yeah.
and the things that could come out of that. With there was a pretty interesting kind of a thing with Okada and Mercedes Moné as well. So could we possibly be seeing some sort of an alliance between them? Interesting. But yeah, Elimination Chamber, without question.
No doubt. No doubt. Matt Michaels?
Yeah, I mean, Elimination Chamber, I don't think there's anything else that we could really because even SmackDown was a and Raw lead-ins to the Chamber, so it's almost like one giant thing this week. So
Yeah.
the same thing.
All right. Yeah, and I absolutely agree with that too. It definitely has to be Elimination Chamber. And as Michael spoke of earlier in the show, shout out to the crowd. I mean, that is the way you want to watch an event with a hype crowd. People don't understand that the crowd really helps makes the show. And really it's really telling. Watching Sammy on SmackDown is just full of emotion. To the point where you see, the tear coming down his face. I mean, just think, Sammy, and I don't want to go off on this whole tangent, but Sammy is one of the hardest working guys in this business. And just think, as much as he's done, and it's been most of the time, it's been very, comedic to the point where, I mean, you're seeing him getting caught in a mousetrap. I mean, when you see something like that, this guy is willing to put it all on the line and all the way to he's up there fighting Roman Reigns. That is really an accomplishment when you think about it. Not everyone gets to that level. They easily could have threw back Drew in that position or Sheamus. They could have just went around, but they saw his build up to this. And it's amazing. This really just shout out to him, man. I mean, I just wanted to shout that out there. Okay. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. We're going to be doing 2 more live recordings tonight. Right now, you're kind of looking at what our 3 count topics are going to be. The 3 count is actually going to be our last show of the night, but you're going to want to be on the next show because we're going to have a guy on who we normally have who knows a little bit more information about certain things, or he's well connected, but he's got something to really talk about with something Tony Khan was tweeting over the weekend. I'm sure if you're familiar with what that was about, we're gonna talk about that, and I think he might even want to talk about the ending conclusion of the Elimination Chamber. Some of our quote journalists have some things they wanted to say about what they thought how that show should have ended. So I think he's going to give his thoughts on that. It's going to be very fun. So make sure you follow us so you can get the notifications when we're on. And we want to hear your comments as well. So please hop back on with us. And if you're just listening to the podcast, thank you for downloading. We appreciate it. You're listening to this on Monday, and we're going to just continue to do what we do. All right. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next week when we do it all over again. All right. Take care and peace.